afternoon and welcome to Baina Midday News coming to you live from Benaf House, Atomic Junction, Medina. I'm Khadija Tukubra Kayla, and coming up this afternoon, Finance Minister announces official end to Ghana's debt restructuring. Also, NAPCO trainees calls on Bawumia to release their outstanding arrears. And Ghana Aid Commission says HIV infections surge due to non-disclosure among couples. Remember, the news is also live on Facebook and YouTube at Baina TV. Do stay with us for details of the stories. Thank you for staying with us. Now to our first story. Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam has announced the completion of Ghana's debt restructuring program with its official creditors. According to the Member of Parliament for Karaga, the government has successfully restructured its debt of $5.1 billion with these creditors, in addition to concluding the restructuring of $13.1 billion with Eurobond holders.
Addressing trainees at the UK Town Hall meeting, Dr. Amin Adam highlighted that these efforts has resulted in savings of $8 billion for the country. The government recently secured delayed payment of interest and postponement of the maturity date in a restructured debt deal with bilateral creditors. To meet its IMF target, the $77 billion economy need to reduce debt to 55% of gross domestic product by 2028, compared with a burden of 109% projected for the year before Ghana began restructuring. The current bondholder agreement will leave debt slightly above the target. Dr. Amin Adam said Ghana's economy fared better than the IMF expected, expanding 2.9% in 2023 compared to an initial IMF target of 1.5%, making it possible for a reversed DSA to accommodate agreements with bondholders. Ghana began working to revamp its debt a little over a year ago as part of a deal with the International Monetary Fund, reaching an agreement in principle with bilateral creditors in January to rework $5.4 billion of obligation under the Group of 20 Common Framework for Debt Treatment.
Meanwhile, NAPCO trainees have urged Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, to fulfill his promise by settling their outstanding arrears. During his campaign in the Volta region on June 2, 2024, Dr. Bawumia pledged to pay the trainees 9-month arrears, which has yet to be fulfilled, prompting the group to demand action on his commitments.
The coalition of NAPCO trainees, in a statement on Monday, June 24th, expressed their disappointment and frustration over Dr. Bawumia's silence on his promise, which has spanned several weeks. According to the statement, the Vice President and flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, on June 2, 2024, made a significant promise to vulnerable former NAPCO trainees during his campaign tour in the Volta region, committing to pay the trainees 9 months arrears. However, weeks have passed with the promise yet to be fulfilled, putting vulnerable NAPCO trainees in critical, weakened condition. The NAPCO trainees are therefore urging the Vice President and flag bearer to honor his promise and release the outstanding arrears without further delay, adding that the Vice President's negligence is a slap in the face of their dedication and hard work.
And now in politics this afternoon, the President of the National House of Chiefs, Anne Omahin of Sefi and Hyanso Yao JB II, has cautioned traditional leaders to be circumspect in their engagement with politicians. He says the political campaign season has started and the politicians will call on them as they tour the country. He asked the chiefs to be tactful in their interactions with their aspirants and to be mindful of their utterances.
The president of the National House of Chiefs explained that as chiefs, they had only one vote just like all other electorates. His caution comes in the wake of the endorsement of the former president, John Dramani Mahama, by the chief of Breman, Bafo Kote Kutin Sraman II, during a public lecture at the Christian Service University last Thursday. Bafo Sraman II, who was the guest of honor at the lecture organized in honor of the former president, described him as the incoming president. The lecture was on the theme Sustainability of Democracy in Africa, the Ghanaian Experience. Ojiahoho Jebi, who was addressing members of the National Houses of Chiefs last Friday, June 21, 2024, further called on the chiefs to advise the youth not to be used by any politician to cause havoc. He said no one was preventing them from campaigning for anyone, but they must do so in a peaceful manner. He asked all stakeholders in the election to speak to particularly persons who would want to foment trouble during the elections. Ojiahoho Jebi asked the political parties and their supporters to preserve the peace and stability of the country by their actions.
In health, the Ghana AIDS Commission has identified the failure of couples to disclose their HIV status to each other as a major contributor to the rising HIV infection rates in the country, according to Dr. Chiroma Etuahin, Director General of the Commission. The lack of disclosure among couples combined with the discontinuation of medication by some HIV-positive individuals are key factors driving the spike in infections.
Dr. Chiroma Etuahin noted that the fear of separation often leads to some couples not disclosing their status. He said some are afraid their spouse may discover that they are taking daily medication, leading them to hide or discontinue their medications. Dr. Etuahin emphasized that women are disproportionately more susceptible to HIV/AIDS than men, urging women to take proactive measures to protect themselves from contracting the virus. He stressed that the importance of women prioritizing their health and well-being by getting tested regularly, practicing safe sex, and adhering to treatment regimen if diagnosed with HIV. He said the mucous membrane lining of the vagina is significantly more delicate and susceptible to irritation than its male counterparts, making women more prone to HIV infection due to the increased fragility of their genital tract tissue.
Now on the international front, for celebrities, politicians, influencers and others visiting Israel, no trip is complete without a visit to towns and villages near the border with Gaza. This is a new kind of tourism that has emerged in the country in the months since a raid by Palestinian fighters on October 7. Jerry Simport, Elon Musk, Michael Douglas, former presidential candidate Nikki Haley, Ivanka Trump and Jared are few who have visited, at times posing for photos in front of burnt-out homes.
For visiting dignitaries and VIPs, trips to Israel have long included stops at famous religious or cultural sites such as the Western Wall, Masada, the Sea of Galilee, or the Church of the Holy Sculpture, and the National Holocaust Memorial, Yad Vashem. The visit to the battered kibbutzim and border towns are the latest way to rebuild wobbly support with allies abroad. The visits are also meant to revive the tourist sector hit hard by the war in Gaza. According to figures from Israeli Central Bureau of Statistics, around 180,000 tourists visited Israel in Q4 of 2023. down from 930,000 tourists in Q4 of 2022, indicating an 81.5% decline. Hamas fighters killed around 1,200 people as they rampaged through southern Israel and kidnapped around 215. Health officials in Gaza say more than 37,000 Palestinians have been killed in the war that followed. Many of the kibbutzim and towns that experienced the worst destruction are close to the public, accessible only via organized tours like those for dignitaries or celebrities, or by invitations from a resident. Other parts of southern Israel are open to the public and encouraging visitors, both foreigners and Israelis, from elsewhere. The city of Beirut runs resilience tours connecting groups with survivors who share their memories of October 7 or highlight cultural or culinary offerings.
And in sports, Instructorman FC ended the 2023-24 Ghana football season as champions of the MTN FA Cup after beating Boafa Kwatano on Sunday, June 8. The Instructor-based sided clinched the trophy following their superiority in the penalty shootout after a 1-1 stalemate in 120 minutes of action.
The victory at the University of Ghana Stadium was the first time the club has won a domestic cup competition since its establishment. Bofokwa opened the scoring in the game with a delightful move, which was finished off by Richard Zeku after just 21 minutes played. The Hunters headed into the break the better side and had the lead to show for it. However, Instructorman pressed for the equalizer after the return from recess. After a long wait, they finally leveled the tie 11 minutes after from the full-time whistle. Sadat Mohammed grabbed a well-deserved equalizer for Maxwell Kunedu's side. Sadat equalizer forced the game into an extra time, which also produced no winner and had to travel to penalties. While Instructorman scored all 5 of their penalties, Boafa Kwatano missed their fate, handing the former the trophy for the first time in their history after winning 5-4. Instructorman will also get the chance to represent Ghana at the next season CAF Confederation Cup as a result of the MTN FA Cup triumph.
And this is how we end our midday news. For more stories, log on to our website, bainamultimedia.com. I'm Khadija Tukubra Kayla, and you have a good afternoon.